We all want to help our friends, our family, our loved ones, and our significant others. But what happens if we're actually not helping them? What if we were actually enabling them? We hear that word often. And what does it mean to enable someone? In today's video, I'm going to discuss the 11 indications that instead of helping, you're enabling. By the way, please support the channel by subscribing and also give us a like if you like this video and share it with your family and friends and anybody that needs to hear this message. So let's jump right into what it means to enable someone. And let's start with that first indication that instead of helping, we're actually enabling. And that's when we're actually doing things for the other person that they can actually do for themselves. And this is really important. Think about it. We're doing things that they could take care of themselves, like their taxes or doing some writing for them or taking care of their children or whatever it looks like. And they're an able body and they're able to do that. So we're taking away things from them that they can do that can actually offer them independence, and we're doing it for them. So that's a major indication that we're enabling them. The second indication is that we may lie or actually make excuses for someone else's unhealthy behavior and their poor life choices. So they might be doing things that's really not good for them, that's extremely unhealthy, and instead of pointing it out or talking about it or having a communication about it, we just make excuses or just kind of push it under the rug because we don't want to deal with it. The third indication is we actually deny the problem. So the things that are taking place, they might be very large, but instead of seeing it for what it is, much like making those excuses, we deny that those problems even exist, making it even tougher to resolve and even tougher to find solution, and even tougher for that person to want to find solution because we're denying that it's even happening. The next indication is that we minimize the issue. So if we don't deny it, we make it really super small, like it's not that big of a deal, which again takes us off target because a lot of times there are issues that we have to deal with. We don't have to make them explosively big, but we're able to actually talk about it in a safe environment, not minimizing, not denying, just looking at it in an honest optic. And when we're enabling, we're not honest on our optics. We're obviously minimizing or denying. Another indication is that we put the other person ahead of ourselves. So that's an interesting deal here. Many of you are doing that in relationships right now where we put the other person ahead of ourselves, putting our priorities and the things that we need to do, our responsibilities on the back burner. That's going to lead to resentment later, but we're doing it because we're putting that person first because somewhere, either consciously or subconsciously, we think that that person's more important than ourselves. Another indication is that we feel guilty not helping them. It's like we feel guilty not enabling and we don't do something because we've been doing it for so long. It's become this pattern, this program, that we actually start feeling guilty and start turning it in on ourselves. And that's a major indication that this is enabling, definitely not helping. Another indication is that we feel responsible for their life. And that's a big, big, big red flag. We are only responsible for our own life. And there is a consideration as far as your children, responsibility that you bring children into this world. But again, they have their own life. They are responsible to live the life that they need to live. You can help them. You can educate them. You support them. But at the same time, remember, they are responsible for their life. And when we start thinking that we're responsible, that's when we get in the way of them living their life. And that's when we begin to do things for them that we don't need to be doing. Another indication is that we feel responsible for this particular person's problems. And we have to really step back and look at that because that can be a very codependent outlook. And that's an outlook that really gets us into that enabling because we feel like we're responsible, that we need to do something, that we can change things. And that's really difficult because that's when we really start getting in the way and we normally put ourselves on the back burner, as well as we begin to take responsibility for things that we cannot take responsibility for, not allowing that person to take responsibility for their own life. You feel resentful toward this person because you're having to do all these things to help them and support them. So whether that's financial, mental, or emotional support. A lot of times you see people with the financial support, they're getting tired of it. They're working hard, working long days, long hours to support somebody's alcohol or drug habit, those types of things, or gambling habit. As far as mental and emotional support, that's a big deal too. When somebody's mentally and emotionally supporting someone and they're not really getting that back, that sustenance back that they need, they can become really resentful. And especially if we're putting that other person first all the time, well, our needs and wants seem to not ever get taken care of, again, causing even more resentment. Another indication is that we feel sorry for them. You feel sorry for them. You feel sorry for what they're going through. You feel sorry for them. So instead of allowing them to jump up and take responsibility, we kind of allow them to feel sorry, and then we kind of feel guilty about them feeling sorry, and then we try to make them feel better, when in reality, again, we're taking away the responsibility that they have to make changes in their life. And last but not least is that you're afraid of what they can do. You're afraid of them getting into trouble, you're afraid of them falling down, and you're afraid of them hitting rock bottom. It doesn't matter if it has anything to drugs or alcohol. It could have many different subject matters involved here, whether it's they don't want to get a job, they don't want to work, whether you're taking care of them, you're housing them for free, whatever the issue is. This can be very challenging, and so you feel as though you have to do these things because you're afraid of what they'll do if you don't do X, Y, Z. That leads us down that slippery slope that you continue to do, that you start feeling bad if you don't. You start feeling guilty if you don't. And see, what happens here is that we end up walking on eggshells because we're trying to make sure that this person's okay, but it's almost like we're trying to control their actions when in reality we can't control anyone's actions. We can advise, we can listen, we can help, we can encourage, we can motivate. All those things we can do, but we can't control their actions and we can't control their thoughts. And so this is a very big indication. So if you're enabling someone, if any of these 11 indications really ring true, unfortunately that probably means that you're enabling instead of helping. And I have more videos coming out talking about the differences between enabling and helping, understanding what enabling actually does, some of the real deep thoughts of what enabling does, because sometimes we feel that we're doing the right thing, but when we actually look at the byproduct of it, it can make us really awaken to why we actually do need to stop, not only for ourselves, but basically for them. Ultimately, you can't get in the way of someone else's future. Like I was saying, you can motivate, you can help, you can listen. But again, when we enable someone, we actually get in the way of what they need to be doing for themselves. I hope this video has helped in some way, maybe turned a light bulb on, or maybe kind of gotten you to start thinking about that, because to some degree, we might all be enabling to some degree someone in our life in the guise of helping them. Does it make us a bad person? No. It's about actually acknowledging that, seeing that, and being able to make the changes we need to move forward in a healthy manner. By the way, don't forget to live your true life.